No.
Speaker? It's me. Thank you very much.
The Right Honourable Winston.
Now, you see, what happened there was that a rubber stamp expert from the National Party got up, made a challenge, and when asked to yield, would not. Because there is a member from Waitaki, been in Parliament for 5 minutes, knows nothing about the legal circumstances behind this legislation, knows nothing about the transactions that belie the truth in this matter, knows nothing about the people who put together the scheme, knows nothing about the engineers, knows nothing about who jacked it all up, but she needs to explain to the people of Kaipara, all the people, and Dargaville, the far north and Whangarei, because if there's to be a unitary authority, sooner or later this massive debt will visit them, and they will not be able to cauterise it the way this new young backbench member sponsoring the bill says so. They don't know what they're talking about. Can I ask the member this? When the Royal Bank of Scotland went down, listen, when the Royal Bank of Scotland went down, I'm going to ask this expert member from Timaru, when the Royal Bank of Scotland went down, what was the size of the encumbrance? Doesn't know. See? There she is. I asked her. She was on the committee, apparently. I asked, when the Royal Bank of Scotland went belly up, what was the encumbrance that they had? Doesn't know. Can't explain it. I know what it is now. It's heading past 82 million, and she can't explain that. What, for example, what was the rebate that the ANZ Bank? What was the rebate that the ANZ Bank... No, remember, Mr Sabin, you had countless opportunity to explain to the country what the bill was all about. Mr Sabin had countless...
Point of order, Jackie Dean. It's a point of order, Jackie Dean.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr Speaker. The member who has got to his feet doesn't seem to understand that this bill is called the Kaipara District Council Bill.
No, that's not a point of order. That's a debating point.
Unfortunately for that name,
the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Mr Speaker, I have lived in the north and my roots go back 1,000 years. Not just a few decades, they go back 1,000 years. And it's arrogance of the worst sort that up she jumps from Waitaki, never made the first European boat, and she challenges my background in the north. Now, Mr Sabin, of course, is so excited, he's not prepared to hear any debate at all. Mr Sabin's in charge of this bill. He knows that he's lumbered his people with an absolute lemon, a total lemon. Mr Sabin, what do you know about business? Explain to me why the ANZ Bank... Now listen, just answer some questions. I've got the answers for you if you will but shut up and listen. See, if you want to learn something, if you just keep quiet. Mr Sabin is hallucinating here and frothing up and lathering up because he knows how embarrassing this is up north. So let me ask you this. The ANZ Bank hear from the receivers of the Bank of Scotland that they have this encumbrance and they're prepared to sell it. The receivers, that is. Does the ANZ Bank do any due diligence? Now, the ANZ Bank, having got this encumbrance for a 40% discount, still got the same debt, but discounted them by 40%. That's massive. You'd think they'd done their due diligence, wouldn't you? And you would think also the BNZ, who helped share this debt, also did their due diligence. I don't have to talk to turkeys like you to understand business. I'm the man that exposed the wine box. I'm the man that exposed the BNZ. I'm the man that exposed the BNZ, the wine box. I know how business works. What's your record? See, there he goes. He's got no record at all. Apart from getting the odd hoon in downtown Dargaville as a policeman, he's no record at all. I'm talking about serious business transactions which require to be explained to the people of Kaipara. And you know that here was an operation to be built for the good citizens of Mangawhai. You know, I have never seen anywhere in the world what they put up for the people of Mangawhai and Kaipara to pay for. This is a BOOT. that only took 6 years from start to finish. It's a build. Oh, you know what he said? The smart man from Dunedin, the man's the new minister, doesn't know what a boot is. Well, shortly next year he'll get the boot and he'll find what its other ramifications are. Boot is a build, own, operate and transfer. Or they built it. they never got to own it properly and they never got to operate it properly. But what they managed to do for the screaming lunatic from Kaipara is they've transferred it to the ratepayers of Kaipara District Council. Now, see if... No, I know when someone's nervous. I know when someone's nervous. Because, yes, me thinks he does protest too much, he does protest too ignorantly. He does protest far too ignorantly. Because if he was confident and relaxed about his colleagues' views, he wouldn't get so hysterical. But today he's hearing some facts he didn't know about. Because unlike him, my job is not to organise a conspiracy against the ratepayers or the taxpayers. My job is to uncover it. And we have, and we will. And I want to know why you are lumbering all the citizens of the North. Because if there's a unified council, they'll all wear it in time. And you can bet now that you can forget the idea of a unified council, because Whangarei is never going to wear the far north, the mid-north, anything else, and paying for it, not now. Now, Mr. Sabin, let me tell you, Mr. Sabin, what your job is. Your job is not to flash around town. Your job is not to flash around the North as a one-trick pony. Point of order, Speaker.
Point of order.
I don't mind objections. You know me. I can handle them. But I do think two speeches at the same time should not be allowed. And
no, you don't. No, member said. Look, I'm listening very closely. It's a robust debate. There are some interjections across the floor. I'm listening very carefully. So long as I can hear the member, that's fine. The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Well, that is by far the most important thing. Because I can tell you, only by a gracious providence is the rest of the country hearing what I've got to say, because Mr. Sabin has gone off his head today. And he's so embarrassed to be walking here and sponsoring a bill that when you look at it with close examination and having been properly briefed and being seriously briefed, as I have been, by far better minds than his, far better brains than that man who used to teach at St. Peter's ever had, all he might know is the seventh form. He knows nothing about business. And that's why he lines up like the rubber stamp merchants they all are, all these backbenchers, and whenever the minister says something, they say, yes, sir, 3 bags full. Yes, sir, oh, yeah, well, here comes the number one stamp merchant with the most uncultured voice I've ever heard. She will never be a minister. She will never... Oh, no, yap, it's your specialty.
Point of order, Tim McIndoe.
But abuse, it is totally irrelevant, and I ask you to bring the member to relevance of the bill, which I don't think he's read. He certainly doesn't understand.
Order. Look, Order. I hear what the member is saying. I just ask to be very mindful about personal attacks on people. A member can take objection to what's being said, so keep that seemly. It is a robust debate. I'm listening very carefully to the content, and we've got 2 minutes remaining. So, the Right Honourable Winston Peters,
Speaker,
2 minutes.
You're precisely right. You see, the last member that got up and spoke, she spent all the time abusing a member of Parliament, namely myself, and now she's getting a reply based on facts and substance, and she can't handle it, and nor can her colleagues, nor can your colleague. Can you tell me this question? Why for 5 years were the accounts never tagged? Why for 5 years were the accounts never tagged? Why do we need a full-scale inquiry about that? For goodness sake, you're a select committee. Get the auditors in and ask them, how do you possibly explain yourself? Because, frankly, if you can't, we're part of this debt.
Order. I'm not part of this debate.
Well, I can point out, Mr. Speaker, your experiences have been solid experience in business valuations. You would never make this appalling mistake.
No, don't bring me
I don't want to bring you into it. But then again, you came here with experience. They didn't. They're naive to the extreme. Here's my point. The second question I want to know from the banks is, tell me just how long and thorough was your due diligence process? Because if it wasn't, why on earth am I passing legislation to save your financial skin? I'm sick and tired of this going on. These banks rip people off, make massive profits. The ANZ and BNZ at times of 1% growth were making 50% annualised profits each a year. And here down, you can't mention the banks, because that's where the money comes from the National Party's campaign. You see what I mean? Everything's conflicted. Now, last thing I want to say, Mr. Sabin, you owe the people of Kaipara more than this. You owe the people of Mangawai more than this. You owe the people of Mangawai a full-scale exposure of what happened here. And I think, no, you're shouting out to me, because I'm going to get on the road to Dargaville, I'm going to go to Kaiwaka, I'm going to go to Mangawhai, and I'm going to go to every little town and tell them what their local member won't do for them. And then I'll tell them what a great party will do. And that is expose this sort of underhand financial dealing that ends up costing the good citizens of Kaipara a pretty packet and no sewage as well.
The next call will be a split call. Moana Maki, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.